Hey Dan, this is Jeff. Hope everything's going good over there. So I'm going to make a series of videos and post them, and it should get you through an easy Hartmann test. And then Lonnie, if you're watching this, jump in and say, no, stupid, you're supposed to do it this way. So I'm going to start with the mirror on the stand. So I got my mirror on the stand here, and I want to talk about how. So the back support is incredibly critical because it's the horizontal axis is almost zero. I have mine tilted about 1 or 2 degrees, so there's not a lot of weight sitting back there. If I had it tilted more, I'd make a 9 or 18-point wiffle system, but almost 99% of the weight's down there on the side wiffles. So I just have a simple adjustable 3-point contact back there because the optical axis is horizontal. Then I have this wiffle system here where the rollers roll forward and back, and they are at 22 degrees. So here's dead center, 22 degrees. Yeah, here's dead center, 22 degrees over, 45 degrees over, and then another 22 degrees over. So these two contacts are 45 degrees apart, surrounding the 45 degrees off to the right, and likewise on the left. And then, of course, I have about an inch behind there. On the back side, I have a fan that blows out. And then on the front side, for about an hour and a half, I have that big sonotube sitting on there. And on the front of it, I have that fan, and that cover, and that fan. So that's a 12-volt fan, but I have it running at 6 volts, so it just trickles. So what's going on is a very, very slow air moving going in, goes across the face of the mirror, around the sides, and then across the back of the mirror and out the hole where it's trickling out. You don't want to be air fast because you'll blow a cold spot on the mirror, and then you'll have one spot that's different than the others. So it just trickles, drags and trickles. And it doesn't matter if the room is hot or the room is cold. What matters is that everything is the same and has been the same for some period of time. So an hour and a half, okay, I do like 30-inch F3, and they're an inch and a half thick. And an hour and a half seems to be okay. Right at the moment, I got a 22-inch F4.5, an inch and a half thick. So I'm doing an hour and a half. What you can do is Hartmann test after 10 minutes, Hartmann test after half an hour, Hartmann test after an hour and a half, Hartmann test after 3 hours. And you can see when it finally comes to a stop moving. And then you know that that's your acclimatization period. Alrighty, so the mirror is on the test stand. On this side over here, I have a Ronchi grating going through a hole, shines on the mirror, comes back and goes through the Ronchi grating. And so looking back from this side, I don't know if this is going to work out real good or not. It's a daylight room, what can I say? And of course, this is just awful. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, you can see my Ronchi up there. Okay, this video camera crap sucks. Don't worry about it. Here's what you need to worry about. When you're outside of the radius of curvature, your Ronchi pattern is going to look like that. You go in a little bit, and all of a sudden, you get this Greek phi. And what happens is that one of the wires in the Ronchi grating is giving you this guy, and then you're at the radius of curvature, wherever that guy is. So this looks like about a 50% radius of curvature. So the Ronchi grating is set up for about a 50% spot. This guy here is going in a little further. We are at about a 10% radius of curvature, and what we want is 0%. So basically it's going to look like that. So that's kind of what you're aiming for to get your 0%. So I'm going to keep talking here while I'm doing this. I can't show you in the video because it's just ridiculous. So I'm dialing it, until I get to that 0%. And that's right about there. Okay. Now, that puts the rocky grating at the radius of curvature of the 0% zone, which is your landmark. For the easy Hartmann test, you have to dial it back and then put your little star holder in the front there. So how far back do you go? Well, the first time you do it, you go back until the dots are spread out and it's pretty much filling the screen, but not completely filling the screen. You don't want it on the edge. You don't want it close edge. You want to maybe, let's just run a number, 90% of the smallest dimension of your screen would be great. So on mine, I forgot what the magic number is. I'll have to go look on the spreadsheet, but I know that it's 18 3/4 turns on my dial. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dial this guy back 18 3/4 turns. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 3/4. That's 20 bolts, so whatever the number was, I converted my brain to 18 3/4 turns. And so I just do that every time. Now that brought the rocky thing too far back. I'll show you what it looks like now. And it is, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of got my head up my ass when it comes to that light shine on the phone. What? It's got to be right about there. There we go. So you can see how all those rocky bars are. There's a bunch of them. I just can't seem to position the phone. So the bottom line is I've dialed it back to the right spot. Now, what's going to happen in a few minutes, not right now, but in a few minutes, I'm going to take the rocky grating off, and I will be putting my little forward star on here. It's another false star that sits forward. Now, here's the magic trick. The rocky grating was right here when I put it the radius of curvature. Then I dialed the whole thing back to here. So I now have this thing that suspends the false star back at the radius of curvature, because this is what's called a stationary light Foucault system. So we moved the receiver back, but we had to keep this at the right spot. So on the spreadsheet, after you dial this thing back, you enter into a cell, I'll tell you so later on, how far forward this guy needs to be of that plane. And I have done that. And I don't remember the numbers, just a little bit less than an inch, but I'll go figure that out and tell you later. So that is that deal. But right at the moment, I got all this crap sitting here. I'm filming with one hand and operating with the other hand. You know that's going to end up getting something on the floor. So this is my targeting screen here. And I'm going to come back here and flip from white light to laser. I now have a laser pointing at the mirror. It's not centered up yet, but that's okay. I'm looking back here to see where it hits my target. Now, I have a bunch of targets there for different purposes. So I'm just going to tell you that my target for what I'm doing today is right there. Now, is after you've got this thing all set up and happy crappy, and you've got your laser on your mirror, and you're coming back and it's going right through the center hole, you're going to take a similar card and you're going to mark where this laser comes back. You're going to make your mark. And then you use that mark every single time. And then you don't have to do all that crap over and over and over. You just set it up. So you saw how fast it was for me to just adjust my setup. I had to go back the right distance, and then I adjust it so the laser hits my mark. Then I'm going to come up mirror, and I'm going to try to do this with one hand. It's not going to work out. I'm going to put my mask on the test stand. Hey, get on there. Yeah, get on there. Yeah, we're sort of kind of on there. Okay, I'm going to have to put the phone down. Hang on. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. God, I really botched this up. Okay, I'll sing while I'm doing this. Doop, 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 doop. Okay, here we go. That's off. That's on. I didn't realize that I was incapable of doing that with one hand. I now know I cannot do that with one hand. Well, apparently I can't do it with two either. Ah, bingo.